Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we take the source material you share with us and turn it into actionable, memorable knowledge.
Today, we're immersing ourselves in some really foundational leadership traits. This all comes from Mark Forcone's book, GMBA Ikigai, Leading to Serve.
Specifically, the second edition. It's a great book, and it outlines 16 of what he calls lean habits.
Right. These habits are all designed to align personal meaning, your Ikigai, with actual performance on the floor.
And here's the thing. When most people hear lean, they immediately jump to the tools, right?
Oh, absolutely. They grab the toolkit, 5S audits, Kanban boards, value stream mapping. But the book, and what we're focusing on today, really emphasizes that the system, well, it only works if the behavior is right.
So our mission today is to really get why that human element isn't just, a nice to have, but is the absolute foundation for Kaizen, for continuous improvement.
And we're going straight to habit two, practicing humility and showing gratitude.
The context here is the Gemba, the place where the work actually gets done. And the argument is, if you want to optimize the process, you have to start with the leader's approach to their people.
Exactly. This isn't about being soft, it's about leadership integrity. The book calls these habits critical quality touch points, QTPs. And habit two, well, it's pretty much the anchor for all the others.
Okay, so let's unpack that first half. Humility. It's framed as, a desirable goal, but he also says it's a difficult path. Why the focus on difficulty?
Because it's an active process. True humility isn't passive. It requires a real effort to dismantle the ego.
The chains of conceit, vanity, and pride, as he puts it.
Yeah, and he's very direct about it. In a lean culture, those aren't just personality flaws. He calls them vices that are of no value.
And why no value?
Because self-importance blocks the one thing lean needs to survive. Learning. I mean, if you think you already know everything, you stop looking for waste. And you definitely stop listening to the people on the Gemba.
That makes perfect sense. Your ego literally blinds you to opportunities for improvement. The author also has this really sharp warning for consultants or anyone guiding others on this path.
Oh, he does not hold back. There's a direct warning. If a lean coach or consultant calls themselves an expert, beware.
That's a strong statement.
It is, but the logic is simple. If you're busy talking about how great you are, you've completely misunderstood what lean leadership is about. It's not about promoting yourself. It's about developing the capability of others.
It's such a powerful litmus test. But I want to push on this a bit, because in the real world, everything feels so transactional. If I spend time coaching someone, I expect to see results, right? I expect some kind of recognition.
That's a critical question, and it gets to the heart of it.
But the book insists this service from humility has to be unconditional. How do you do that without just burning out?
The book is really clear on this. The giving, the serving, it has to be unconditional. And that means absolutely no strings attached.
So no quid pro quo?
None. If you, as a leader, are developing someone, you can't expect praise or a thank you or even that they'll succeed right away. The moment you make your effort conditional on getting a reward, you've just turned service into a transaction.
So the reward has to be internal. The act of doing it is the reward.
Precisely. Your value comes from your commitment to the process, not from getting a pat on the back. But this obviously leads to a tough situation. What happens when people just reject your help?
Right. You offer a hand and they slap it away. What do you do then?
And this is where the advice gets really deep. When that happens, the leader has to remain calm and rational. The absolute worst thing you can do is get dragged down into their negative emotional state.
The book uses a great metaphor here that these people are often limping.
Yes. Weighed down by frustration or anger or things you can't even see. They're reacting out of their own pain, not necessarily out of malice toward you.
So your job isn't to fix them on the spot.
No, your job is to listen. To just listen instead of getting defensive. If you can hold that calm, rational space for them, you might just be the person who helps them stop limping. And that transforms a potential fight into a real quality touch point.
That is the difficult path of humility. Okay, let's switch gears to the other half of the habit, which is gratitude. The book says there's far too little gratitude in the world today.
And that leaders have to express it daily. If humility is about emptying yourself of pride, gratitude is about filling the environment with appreciation.
But a lot of leaders hesitate here, don't they? They think it makes them look weak.
Exactly. They worry that showing appreciation will somehow, diminish their authority.
The classic, if I thank them for just doing their job, they'll ask for a raise.
Right, or they'll get complacent. But the book argues pretty emphatically that gratitude does the exact opposite. It actually makes you a better, a wiser, and a stronger leader in the eyes of your team. It connects you.
I really like the phrase he uses, that gratitude is the lubricant that smooths the day. It speaks to all that little friction that can build up.
That's its key function. People want to work for someone who actually appreciates their effort. And it doesn't have to be a big material reward. It's the non-material stuff, the kind words, the specific recognition that can be given by anyone every single day.
That constant flow keeps the gears turning.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the two pillars, humility and gratitude. Now let's look at the cost. What happens when habit 2 is completely missing? There's a case study in the book that really moves this from philosophy to the bottom line.
It is a devastating real-world example. It's about a CEO's son who is also a shareholder's child, and he gets promoted to a senior sales role.
Okay, I can already see where this might be going.
His pedigree and a few early wins just fueled this massive lack of humility. He had absolutely zero interest in learning the operational side of the business.
So his success bred arrogance. What did that actually look like on the Gemba? How did it cause chaos?
Well, because he wouldn't listen to the operations team. You know, the people who had to actually make and ship the product.
People doing the real work.
Right. He would negotiate these massive custom contracts without ever looking at the company's internal planning cycles, their S&OP. He'd just promise immediate delivery on a huge custom order to hit his quarterly bonus.
He's prioritizing his own ego, his own commission, over the stability of the entire system.
And that's where you can see the direct link to the 3 classic lean wastes. His behavior created huge systemic problems. First, these sudden, unforecasted orders created significant MURA.
Unevenness.
Extreme unevenness. The production line would be running 3 double shifts in a row one week, just total chaos, followed by a full week of almost nothing because they'd run out of materials. That wild swing is MURA.
And what did that MURA lead to?
It immediately created MURI, which is overburden. The teams were pushed way beyond their limits. People were stressed. They were burning out. Quality plummeted. Equipment started breaking down.
And then, of course, all of that MURA and MURI shows up as MUDA, right? The 8 wastes.
It manifests as MUDA. You've got excess inventory sitting around during the slow weeks, tons of defects from the rush production, and the worst one of all, the waste of human talent and morale.
It's such a clear, painful example of how a leader's bad habits can destroy a system, no matter how good the tools are.
It proves the QTPs are quantifiable. This behavior costs you real money, and eventually it costs you your entire culture.
Okay, so let's shift back to the solution. The book uses a classic story to really drive home this idea of giving and trust in the system, the parable of the hand pump.
It's a perfect metaphor for that leap of faith a leader has to take. So you have a man lost in the desert, completely exhausted, all hope is gone. He stumbles on this tiny rundown hut.
And inside, there's a dry hand pump. But next to it is a full bottle of water with a note.
And the note says not to drink the water. It says to use the water to prime the pump. Don't forget to refill the bottle for the next person.
I mean, what a dilemma. Every survival instinct is screaming, drink the water now.
It's life right there in his hand. But the note asks him to pour his only chance of survival into this rusty, unreliable machine. He has to choose between immediate relief and, well, hope.
And he chooses hope.
Yeah.
He trusts the note. He pours the entire bottle in, starts cranking.
And it works. Cold, clean, life-saving water starts flowing.
And not only is he saved, but he can refill the bottle, seal it, and he adds his own note.
He adds, believe me, this hand pump works.
That's the whole moral, isn't it? That you sometimes have to give before you can receive. That act of trust helps you, but it also ensures the system works for the next person who comes along.
That investment, without any guarantee of an immediate return, that's the core of habit 2. And if you connect that idea to what we're seeing in the workplace today, all this disengagement, and the whole quiet quitting phenomenon.
Yes, the book talks about how when hope is lost, people wither and die. Or in a business, they just check out. And a leader who shows humility, who shows gratitude, a leader who primes the pump by investing in people unconditionally, that's how you restore that hope.
That's the mechanism. It tells the team the leadership is present, they're trustworthy, and they're committed to everyone's well-being. That brings people back.
Okay, let's unpack this for you, the learner. The big takeaway here is that practicing humility and showing gratitude aren't soft skills. They are not optional.
No, they're critical quality touch points. They directly impact the health of your entire system. As we saw with the sales lead, if the leader is arrogant, you get chaos, MURI, and MURI. If the leader is humble and grateful, you get stability.
The ground becomes fertile for Kaizen to actually take root.
Exactly. So if you're trying to be a better leader, maybe the first step isn't to go master a new tool.
The first step is internal.
It is. We'd really encourage you to develop a genuine attitude of gratitude, to recognize that by showing appreciation and getting your ego out of the way, you become a better, wiser, and fundamentally stronger leader. That's what fuels real improvement.
So what does this all mean for your commitment to Kaizen? Mark Forkin defines Kaizen as the relentless pursuit of reducing the cost of one unit.
And we usually think of that as, the cost of materials or the cost of labor. But the philosophy goes deeper.
It extends to you, and we'll leave you with this final thought built directly on that philosophy. The relentless pursuit of reducing the cost of one unit applies not just to production, but to reducing the cost of one unit of your own behavior.
How much does your lack of humility cost the team in morale?
How much does your lack of gratitude cost your company in turnover? Think lean, then do lean.
It sums it you on.
Always. That was the deep dive. See you next time.